All right. So, welcome, beloved church family of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Judith Roberts, and I will be your host tonight. I welcome you to our midweek Oasis Wednesday night service. As you will be able to experience, our Wednesday night Oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Our Wednesday night services are informal, intimate, and interactive. Our annual theme for 2024 is A Grand Rising. Our monthly theme for December is Sticking the Landing. Last Sunday, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman introduced ideas inspired by the talk title of Hearts Ablaze, and tonight our speaker will continue the exploration of the same topic. So I really want to give you a warm, hearty welcome. If you're new to our community or watching our recording, please visit our homepage, www.oaklandcsl.org, and click on the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page and submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin receiving the Village newsletter once a week on Thursdays in your email. It has all the information on what is happening at the center in the coming weeks. Before we get started, please mute your audio microphone during tonight's talk. You can leave your camera on. When you mute your audio microphone, it will improve the quality of our recording and tonight's transmission. And please stay tuned through the end of the service to receive special and important announcements. So now I would like to introduce our speaker, Crystal Fry. Crystal is a powerful change agent in her work as a leadership coach and facilitator with over 15 years experience supporting leaders, teams, and organizations to achieve goals aligned with their values and build psychologically safe and inclusive workplaces. Blending neuroscience, conscious leadership models, and adult learning theory, Crystal delivers transformative leadership development initiatives and interventions that help clients break through barriers of habit, culture, and institutional inertia to maximize human potential and performance. So, Crystal, thank you in advance for being our speaker tonight. We always open with prayer for every event at our center, and tonight we are following in that tradition. So, Crystal, will you be offering the prayer tonight?
No, Robert Leeds will be offering the prayer.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so Robert, would you please open us in prayer?
I would be happy to. So let's all take a deep breath together. And as we release that breath, we recognize that the breath connects the inner and the outer. It allows us to see that there is just one thing happening here. One life, one divine creative force that permeates everything, that flows through everything, that is our source, our supply, and our sufficiency. And I know that this divine mind, this loving life energy flows through me and everyone here and everyone who's not here. That this energy is creative, is loving, is compassionate. It allows growth and evolution. And I know that these qualities are present here tonight during Crystal's talk and during our conversation. I know that this service is blessed with this energy. and that for this I am so grateful. So I release my word into the law, knowing that it is already done in the mind of God, and that we are each manifesting those glorious qualities in every moment. And I gratefully release my word and say, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Robert. That was a beautiful prayer. And now I'd like to turn it over to Crystal, our speaker tonight.
Okay, thank you so much, Judith and Robert, for that beautiful prayer. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really glad that you are all here. I've taken some time away from the center this year, and kind of left me feeling a little adrift. And this feels like such a special opportunity to come home and to drop anchor together in spirit with you all. After I came back, it was like visiting 100 friends all at once, and it set my heart ablaze with joy and longing. I remembered how much I love it here and how much I love you all. And so that's what I'm bringing to the talk today. I want to start just with gratitude for everyone and our center and beloved community. And I am particularly grateful to Reverend Sunshine for facilitating this talk and giving me the very special topic of Hearts Ablaze. I knew this topic was for me immediately because I have a very strong connection to fire. Not only do I have like 5 very significant fire placements in my chart, but I have been obsessed with fire forever. I lived on a horse ranch once, and I would one day I started 11 fires. So I'm also like a professional fire starter and tender. So this topic really speaks to me right off the bat. And fire, what I think about it is change, alchemy, transformation. So, as a change agent, I feel like fire is a big part of what I bring to our community and to my work. And then there's another connection with the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And so when I first heard Hearts Ablaze, that image just came right to me. And I remember when I was young, when I saw that heart of Jesus, it was like a beacon to me. That's that Sacred Heart, with the flames all around it. And it was like when I saw it, I was like, that's my man. And so it was really a beacon to me because the image really represented what I feel and what I can only describe as a connection to God that I've known my entire existence. There is just some light, some presence, some spark in the heart that lets me know that we are more than just this. And so, I'm not alone in having this connection with fire. Fire has always acted as a bridge between the material and the spiritual realms. And actually, my preferred creation story and one of the oldest written creation stories is in the Rig Veda. It is the story of Prajapati. I don't say it very often, so sorry if I trip over that, but Prajapati was the primal initial being, and he existed in this whole perfect, complete state, singular source. But he was lonely, and his loneliness and his desire for another drove him to concentrate so hard that he began to make friction and fire. And that fire began to come out of him. Like the description is like, it was literally coming out of his eyeballs and his ears. And right, it was this state. And then one becomes many. and the source was diversified. And when I think of like the Big Bang, this makes so much sense to me. And then when I found Science of Mind, you know, 7-8 years ago, it was like everything that we talk about, the oneness and the infinite outpicturing of that oneness, confirmed this story for me. And it was all born in fire. So I've always felt this connection to fire. And I want to talk tonight about what keeps my heart ablaze, and also what keeps your heart ablaze. One of my favorite quotes, it just really simplifies the idea for me, really breaks it down. The flame in the mystic heart is love for the divine and all creatures. This is from a theologian and saint in the Eastern Orthodox tradition called Ablaze. And this is what it is to me, right? That flame that I saw in the Sacred Heart, that feeling that I have, it's love. And it's a love for the divine, right? Something beyond. And it's also love for everything here. And so I want to talk about this love and our connection through the heart, through this spark of life to all that is. When we come to Science of Mind, again, the metaphor is repeating. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. Love is self-givingness through creation, the imparting of the divine through human." And so it's this self-givingness that I want to talk to you about. How do we tend to that fire? How do we keep our hearts ablaze with love and not rage? Because we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about that later with you too. We can't just talk about the light. We must also acknowledge and embrace our shadow. So first, let's just talk about spiritual practices. And the first one, I know you all know. Be still and know. But in this version and in an experience I had recently, I'm just dropping the whole second part to focus on that be still. And this came to me through an experience. I sat to do a meditation, and sometimes I have very active meditations, and I'll talk about some of the internal resources that I've worked to develop and places that I go when I drop in to my heart. Sometimes I do the loving kindness meditation to really feel that love, like really sit in it. But this day I sat down and I knew that I just needed to breathe. And so I was going to say, be still and know. But before I could even get to the and know part, Spirit was like, just be still. That's it. That's all you need. And so I just kind of felt into it, and I was just still. And I had kind of forgotten about it until Judith's meditation on Sunday, where she had us doing this a meditation where you breathe into your heart, and then you send that love up, and then you breathe down love from the universe, and then you send that to the earth, right? So you become the nexus of this infinite loop of love between the heavens and the earth. And it was so beautiful, but it reminded me the part where you just breathe in and you receive. That's feeling really important to me these days. And so one of the ways that I like to tend to my fire is to just be still. Another is with the breath. And sorry for the people who were here during the meditation, and I'm making you do this twice, but I'm going to ask you all to do my favorite one breath, like amazing shift practice, which is where you just breathe in all your energy, and you connect with all the energy that where we live up here in the head. And as you breathe out, you just bring it down. And you bring all that energy down into your heart. And I want you just to stay here with me for a moment now that you've brought all the energy down, and tune into the heart. And tune into all of the space around your heart and your heart's beat. And I want you to go to the space behind your heart. This is where I think we find the greatest wisdom. And so from this place behind your heart, I just want you to ask your heart, what do you have for me? What do you want me to know? How are you? We're just really taking a moment to check in with our own hearts. Notice if your heart feels open or closed. Notice what feelings or emotions may be present in your heart space. Generally, we're carrying a complex set. See how many you can notice and name. Now I want you to notice your heart ablaze. When you tune in, does it feel true? Can you feel the fire? Do you feel longing? So this sort of tuning in, come on back and just notice how much information is available to us in our hearts if we just give it a moment of attention and some kind loving care. So this is another way that I really tend to my heart is I listen to it. I check in with it. So maybe during other times in the session, I'll have you do that breath with me. But as you notice the energy coming back up to your head, do that one breath and move it down. And see if you can listen and engage and participate in this talk today from the place of your heart. Just see what happens. Experiment with me. So when I listen to the heart, I express my feelings. Sometimes I do journaling. And sometimes I just listen to my emotions as an emotional, as a guidance system. I call it my emotional guidance system because it's giving me information of what's working and what's not working for me, what I want, what I don't want, where I feel safe and good and where I don't. And so just giving my attention, my heart, regular attention and frequent check-ins is one of the ways that I can keep that fire going, to really tend to the fire. And another way, and this really speaks to the self-givingness through creation. I have been developing what I call internal resources here located in the heart for probably about 15 years now. And the first one that I named and I said, this is it, was infinite unconditional love. And this is what I tie directly back to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, to this flame, you know, that is love for the divine and creation. It is life source. It is infinite. It is unconditional. And it is right here in me. And so I go there, and that's the one that I don't like. It's not as much as a place, it's like a feeling. And if I were to say it, it's like a spiral of light, and it's big and it's coming in. But when I think about the other resources that I'm going to share, it's more like the infinite unconditional comes in, and then it hits my heart, and kind of like a pyramid, like the triangle on the Pink Floyd album, when the light hits the triangle, it fractions off into all of these other things and colors and tones and qualities. And so one of those qualities is the light of truth. And the way that I work with the light of truth, it is a bright light, just like sunlight. It's like the days that start cloudy, and then our beautiful California sun comes and shines and evaporates everything else. That's what the light of truth does for me. It shines out and it evaporates anything that is not true, like separateness, right? Like the distortion, the false belief of separateness or disease or discord. So in the moment, I can tap into that, and I can just use it to evaporate out anything that is not aligned with what is. And that light of truth is really for what is, everything that is true in this moment. Infinite and unconditional. Those conditions that we do not love, they count in the light of truth. In the light of truth, they are accepted and they are unified. So that's another one of my internal resources. And these, I just go right into the heart for these. The other one is the joy factory. Now I want you to imagine Dr. Seuss and the sweater factory. It was like where, you know, you would go in and things, they take the trees in and things go out. Well, I have a joy factory, but it kind of looks like that. I think that's where it started. And so you go in the joy factory, and the joy factory is just rows and rows, floors and floors of doors that go into my most joyful experiences. Some of those include horseback riding, snorkeling, making love, laughing with friends, eating good food, traveling, jumping off big rocks, right? So every door goes to something different. And so this is a place, this is a way that I can also use my heart as a portal for joy. So that infinite unconditional love comes in and creatively provides what I need to be okay in the moment, to get back to the truth of me and what I want from this experience. And there's some more that we'll talk about later when we talk about water practices. But I want to pause here and ask you all, what do you do to tend to the flame in your heart? Is any of this resonating or reminding you of practices that are effective for you? Judith?
I get hugs from Larry on Sunday.
That is a great one.
That's one for me.
Yes. I love hugs.
Yeah. I get hugs from other people too. That was just what popped up when you asked.
Yeah.
Anything else pop up for you all?
Singing songs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Is there any songs in particular?
Nope, I love all songs. Mostly all songs. Yeah. Lots and lots. In fact, I can turn around. If I'm in this place, I can turn it around by walking around for a while and singing, and my heart, I wasn't thinking of it that way, wakes up.
Oh, nice.
So
That's beautiful, Judith.
Yeah.
For me, the being in nature really is a important way to nourish myself. I went for like a 2-hour hike yesterday in Redwood Park. Just being around the redwoods, and they also had a bunch of hibernating ladybugs there,
Oh,
hundreds and hundreds of them, and that was cool. And the ocean really does it for me too.
What do you feel in your heart when you go to the ocean?
Um, it's a sense of connection, a sense of that it's like the source of life on this planet, and just something so primeval about it.
Yes, we're going to be talking more about water practices when we get to managing sacred rage.
Wow.
Okay.
I was also going to talk about nature. I was just on that hike today after work. I was on the one that Robert was talking about with the ladybugs, and I hadn't been there. I've been
Good.
out of the country so long, 7 years or more, and I brought my dogs, and they're panting up the hill and hating me for torturing them so many walks. But it was just, it's so still. There's this just such a deep peace. It was like going to the center of the earth. There was just this being in a meditation room.
What did you feel in your heart?
Complete spaciousness. And having lived in India for many years, we'd go up to the foothills of the Himalayas and stay in the mountains, and some clear days we could look out and see the Seven Sisters, so the Himalaya mountains. And that just would leave me so awe-inspired.
Yeah.
Just the magic that we live in on this planet Earth. It's in all the colors with the sunrise and the mysteriousness of it all and the enduring nature. So that's just, and also the sea. So everything Robert was saying, yeah, resonated.
Yes, welcome, Camilla. Yes. I love your share and that vastness, the mystery. That's what it is for me. It's like the synchronicity, like the beauty of nature plus the synchronicity of life. Like it lights me up. And in nature, I feel the same way. A lot of peace. Okay, all right. So this is, the best of me, the most saintly, what I most like to share with my spiritual community. The things that make me feel in tune and enlightened and all of these things. But I really want to talk about the shadow side too, because when I heard Hearts Ablaze, I had also made me think about what's going on in our nation and our community and in the world right now. And there are some more destructive aspects to the fire. And, I think we could say that, hearts ablaze with hatred or hearts ablaze with rage have done a lot of damage to our people and our planet. And I think over the last, month or so, I've heard some of the nicest people say some of the meanest things I've ever heard. And there seems to be this us versus them that is so strong that we're willing to say unkind things about the other in a way that has really hurt my heart. And it's not that I don't feel a lot of sacred rage towards all of the injustice in the world and what seems to be affront to women and minorities and progress towards equity, inclusion, and embracing diversity and oneness. I do feel rage. And we're going to talk about like ways to channel that rage into action later. But I also want to talk about like the shadow, you know, of just regular rage and how we get angry at each other. I said at the beginning of this talk that I was adrift from the community. And it's because some things that happen, the most natural thing that happens when humans come together is conflict. We are all different, and that beautiful diversity of perspective and ways of being causes friction. And so a conflict happened last year, and I got mad. And not only did I get mad at the way things went down, I felt, oh, like it was just so unjust and unfair. And then I got mad because when I would come to the center, I would remember feeling mad. So it was like I'd feel mad, and then I would feel mad because I lost that sanctuary, that sense of peace that I used to have when I was coming here. And it was really hard for me. And so I want to talk about that with you all, because I want to build a community that is capable of holding the hard stuff along with the good stuff. And I want to talk about what we do as metaphysicists when we find ourselves with our hearts ablaze with anger or rage. And I found this really great quote. Actually, I feel like I've been needing to hear this quote for years. It says, this is from Living the Science of Mind. Ernest Holmes writes, "In the science of mind, we do not say that everything is all right when it is all wrong. We do not say peace when there is no peace, but rather we try to discover what is wrong and why we do not have peace. We do not say that people are not poor, sick, or unhappy. We ask why these things should be if the original cause of all things is harmonious, perfect, and radiant." And so I just wanted to share this quote because I feel like it gives permission, right? It gives us permission to acknowledge the hard things. And sometimes I feel like in our community, and you know, criticisms I've heard of other people from the outside looking in, is that like we just want to focus on the good and ignore the rest, right? We just want to just feel warm and fuzzy and kind of to hell with the rest, because we know we're changing it in our consciousness or some version of that. I don't think I'm articulating it particularly well, but I think it's really important, especially in these times, that we're able to name the places where there aren't peace and the places where it is hard, and acknowledge that conflict is a reality. And then we can move into that conflict is a reality, and conflict is a mode of expansion. And so that's where I'm trying to go with my thinking and my conflict. And I found another quote, and I'm going to put this in two pieces. Because, so this first one, this is from the Science of Mind textbook. "Irritation, vexation, and confusion go hand in hand to rob human of their birthright to peace, comfort, and harmony." That's what I was feeling. "As children of the dust, they must be brushed aside as unfit companions of the soul." Well, sounds easy. Let's just brush them aside. It's not always that easy, right? So we have to go to the second part of this quote, because that part triggered me. But then we come back around. "Anger and malice, revenge and animosity cannot breathe the same atmosphere as goodness and purity, and they will fall away as we climb to those heights where the indwelling spirit lives." And this is that spark, right? This is that infinite unconditional love that is ours to access at all times. So if we can go there, right, its opposite, its shadow, cannot exist. So I want to talk about from this perspective, what do we do? How do we tend to our hearts when they're ablaze with rage? The first thing, and I want to just continue with the metaphor of fire, right? What happens if you throw too much wood on a fire? It's too big, it's unwieldy. You got to wait for it to burn down. Okay, so I know that there is patience required in tending to an overinflamed heart. We also don't want to add any fuel. And what I mean by that, what I mean by fuel in this case is stories, right? We can tell ourselves any story we want about what has happened in our lives, and we tend, like humans are really keen on taking the victim position, and we tend to still tell stories that victimize ourselves and make the other wrong, right? We talk about the drama triangle a lot in the work that I do. And it's a really easy trap to fall into, the victim trap, right? So if I tell myself stories, like, for example, the story that I had lost my peace and sanctuary, that story is harmful. It hurts me. It makes it worse. And it may be true, but the more I add that story, the more that it inflames the rage. So be careful not to add any extra fuel or story to the pain and the anger that already exists. And now we come to the water practices, which I think we already touched on, and I know you know about these. Water is a yin element, so it's about softness and flexibility. It's about adapting to the environment, cultivating the ability to adapt and to be agile in that adaptation. And so the internal resources, like the ones I shared before, the Joy Factory and Infinite and the Light of Truth, the water ones for me begin with an endless sea of compassion. And when you spoke, Camilla, about the light show that we get every day and how mysteriously wonderful and beautiful, when I go to this place in my heart, it's a sea. There's a sunset that is just always going. It never sets, it never goes away. It's just an always there. The temperature is perfect and the waves are just right to lay back into the endless sea of compassion and to be soothed by that. So that's one place where I go. I just go there and I float. I literally float like I had my own sensory deprivation tank right here in the heart. Another one, the endless sea of compassion runs into the fountain of forgiveness. And the fountain of forgiveness, because I'm extra, it's got lots of lights, it's fancy, it's bright, it's got like a show, there's music, but I am that fountain of forgiveness and it is eternal. So it's easy to forgive. It's just beautiful to forgive. And so I can connect with that sense of being a fountain. What if I was just a conduit for forgiveness? I have a forgiveness partner who I'm doing work with. We want to be the best forgivers in the world. Number one, like what can we do? And then the fountain of forgiveness runs into a deep, still lake where you can sit and experience the peace that surpasses all things. And so these are just places where I go in my heart. Then there are the physical practices like going to the ocean, putting your feet in a stream, listening to water, swimming, physical practices like stretching, swimming, Tai Chi. Those are all a way to kind of help tend to a fire or an over-inflamed heart. There's also replacement theory, going back to the quote from Ernest Holmes, anger and malice, revenge and animosity cannot breathe the same atmosphere as goodness and purity, right? When you tap in, when you're sitting in the peace that surpasses all things, when you tap into the fountain, when you're floating in the endless sea of compassion, it's not there, right? You are soothing that part of your heart. The other way I tend to hearts ablaze with rage is action. So transformation, alchemy, doing something that honors what my emotional guidance system is telling me, setting a boundary, acting for change, whatever it is, but action, right? Fire is action, resistance, friction, heat, change, alchemy. And then finally, coming back to oneness. If I need to tend to an over-inflamed heart, this place of unity where we started, right? Back before we were ever divided in that longing, in that whole perfect and complete state, the oneness that I know to be true in my heart, returning to that and just sitting in that goodness and the purity that exists right here. And, you know, I'm bringing all this up because I think I already said this, but I want to build and co-create a community that is strong enough to talk about the hard things, the dark things, and all the things we want to turn away from in ourselves and in others. And it's my intention to build a safe that is so safe and inclusive that we can let the worst of ourselves, like ourselves, myself and yourself and ourselves, right? That the worst of you and me and the we can find love here too, right? And can receive love here in our community as well. And I know we must find the courage to love ourselves entirely in order to heal and love each other entirely. And that's what I see as critical for building a world that works for everyone, right? That's our ultimate goal and motivation, a mission as spiritual centers for spiritual living, is to build a world that works for everyone. And I know we're capable of that. I know that this power of love that I feel in my heart, the source, the life, that this power of love is the greatest power of all. And I am determined to transcend any false notions of separation. I reject the misconception of us versus them, and I declare we consciousness here, now, and forever. And we've got one more quote to drive this home. Another one from Ernest Holmes. I don't know where it came from, an article. We shall need to announce that the truth, we shall often need to announce that the truth which we announce is superior to the condition we are to change. So all of those conditions that our hearts long to change, we must announce the truth as superior. So our oneness, our unity, the infinite unconditional love that we are. I stand in that, and that's the end of my talk. Now I want to hear from you all what you do when you encounter, whether it be sacred rage or maybe even just like petty human rage. What do you do with that in your spiritual practice?
Crystal,
Yes.
what is the difference between petty human rage and sacred rage?
There is absolutely no difference.
Okay.
They just kind of feel, there's like, I don't know, there's some rage that I feel justified, like we've really got to hold this and harness this. And then there's some rage I feel like is just not that helpful, like when we turn against each other. When we turn against what is the greatest good. That's when it feels petty and unhelpful to me, and I want to,
Yeah.
well, I want to use my water practices.
I think when I encounter rage, and it happened recently because I'm back in like context with family and old triggers and old, people who could really go under the skin. So I see it as a messenger, and I see that red energy as my boundaries and my inner strength and my Muladhara chakra, like just saying, I have energy, I am fierce, I am powerful, and I am seeing that this situation or this context is not right. So I need to kind of step back, but it's really quick and I recognize it, as opposed to say when I was a lot younger. So I am embracing it because it's showing me my truth and my power and my center and my core, and I'm listening and I'm attending to it, and I try to leave like the situation, the context, because I know that no good comes from when we're in that space. Need to come back to like the center being more in a space where we could communicate. But it brought up a lot of deep sadness, like saying, oh, wow, this is sometimes just having to deal with contexts and situations under that rage. What is there? It's a lot of pain. So, but I think it's just such a blessing. It's all like part of the wheel of emotions and something to embrace, because it's really guides us to a deeper truth.
Sounds like you're doing a really good job of honoring.
Yeah. Robert, then Bob, did you have something after?
I, Robert or Bob?
Robert.
Robert, then Bob.
Okay.
So I really like what you just said, Camilla. That idea of if you treat it as energy and not get overly caught up in the story, then that's something that's available to you to use and can transform, the situation. And there's information there, important information. The comment I want to make had to do with conflict and spiritual community. And I think that it's very true, Crystal, that Science of Mind in particular, in the past has been guilty of spiritual bypass and wanting everything to be good, and just think positive thoughts, and if anything negative is happening to you, it's just because you got to change your thoughts, and no recognition of the reality of context or things like that. And I think that we're getting a lot better at not doing that, and not doing the spiritual bypass. And I think we're getting better at, recognizing that conflict is a natural part of human interaction, and that it can, you said something I really liked, or I jotted it down somewhere, I can't even find it now. Conflict is as a, as a mean
mode of
to
expansion.
expand. Yeah.
That's from Deborah Jackson, who I'm surprised is not here, but I've got to quote her on that because she changed my life with that probably about 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah. So I really like that. And,
You say
and
the
I
quote
hope that
again.
we as a spiritual community continue to work in that mode.
What was the quote?
It's not a quote, it's just a concept of conflict as mode of expansion.
Oh. Okay, Bob.
I'm missing out on something here. I've only felt rage twice in my life. And it was, the most recent time was in 1980.
Wow.
I I don't know. I think I can get kind of pissy, and I think I can get ironic and somewhat, I don't know, and I I don't I don't I don't have that. The fire doesn't do that for me. I was trying to, am I missing out? I feel like I might be missing out on something.
Well, you missed out on 2 rageaholic parents like I had. I'm feeling a little jealous right now.
Right, about the rageaholic parents. I did not have rageaholic parents.
So how do you tend to the fire in your heart, Bob? And what is Hearts Ablaze mean to you?
Hearts Ablaze to me is, I'm a morning person, and in my mornings, even when they were early, it's dark, and I get to see the sunrise and be alive, and I'm just bouncing off the walls. I'm just this is great. This is pretty cool. Every single day, the other thing is, if I'm on the water, either in the water or on the water in a boat, I can let everything go. It's like I feel at home. And my heart is a calmer place, I think, than a lot of people. Yeah, I'm calmness and tranquility are there most of the time, and most of the time, if I don't let them be there, it's like I start laughing at myself. So guess we're all dealing with this in different ways. I mean, I know I got a shadow side too, but it isn't a rage. It isn't a thing that I'm. In 1980, I frightened myself when I frightened a burglar, and sounds came out of my mouth, and I charged at him, and I have no idea what was going on, but there was some primal thing that just really in, and that's the only like rage kind of thing I can imagine in my almost 3/4 of a century here, you know.
I bet you have a lot of water placements. I'd love to see your chart.
I am an Aquarius, yes, but I don't think, I think other things are, I don't know. The dark side and Carl Jung. I have some heroes, and one of them is Joseph Campbell. And, the angry part, I mean, there's a dark part, but it doesn't have to be an angry part. And as we recognize it and become comfortable with it, we don't have to go there so well.
Bob, you work a lot with plants, right?
I do.
That'll calm you down.
Well, from where I am, yeah, then I won't be moving, you know. But no, there's nature. It's just, but there's violent nature too. Last night was so windy, I couldn't find things outside this morning. It was just nature's. Well, anyhow, it's Crystal. Thank you for bringing this up, and I've enjoyed this very much.
And thank you, Bob.
So
Thank
glad
you
you
for
came.
your offering. We've got to transition now to our announcements, and let's all give Crystal some love and
Yay.
thanks. Tell her how much we enjoyed this talk. It was really good discussion. Yeah, the hearts are coming on, Crystal. Thank you so much. So, Peter, could you bring up our slides?
Okay.
Okay, so this next Sunday, December 15th, Reverend Allie Hutchinson will be speaking on flowing ground. Oh, flowing ground. Meditation will begin at 10, followed by the service at 10:30. And on Wednesday, the 18th, I will be speaking for our midweek oasis. And the topic is again, flowing ground. And as usual, meditation begins at 6:30 and service at 7. Join our 2024 daily community spiritual practice using the Abundance Book, 40-Day Prosperity Plan by John Randolph Price. Today, we're on the 26th day of the program, using the 6th affirmation in the book. Follow along daily in order that in the order that the affirmations appear. And join us as we create sacred holiday altars tomorrow, December 12th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're looking for volunteers to assist Paul with decorating the center as we prepare for the holiday season. Please come when you can during the time. Your help is appreciated. And join us Tuesday, December 24th, for our Christmas candlelight service, 7 p.m. In this hour-long service, we will enjoy Christmas reflections, light candles, and sing Christmas carols. Bring the family for this special program. The 5-session Women's Spiritual Empowerment Group has its final gathering on Sunday, December 29th, after service at 12:30. All are welcome, and you don't have to have attended other sessions. Support Oakland Center for Spiritual Living's 2025 annual pledge, Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. Thanks to your ongoing support, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living continues to thrive. It's that special time of year, our 2025 annual pledge season, and our theme is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. Your pledge makes a vital difference, not only in supporting our 2025 budget, but also in allowing each of us to engage in the law of circulation, opening ourselves to greater good as we give. Please join us in nurturing our spiritual home and letting the flow of good continue. To make your pledge, simply visit oaklandcsl.org and select the donate button on the homepage. We are starting an OCSL Buddy Love program. The program is intended to randomly partner people in the community into pairs for the purpose of connection, community bonding, and spiritual practice and support. The pairs establish the frequency of connection, the mode of connection, phone, Zoom, or in person, and what you will do during your time together: prayer, check-ins, connect on community readings like the Abundance Book, outings, etc. Visit oaklandcsl.org/events to register. The holiday homemade crafts fair is December 15th from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the social hall. Please support our local brands. Drop by for clothing, jewelry, holiday wreaths, and more. Applications are still being accepted for vendors. Invite your friends and family to stop by to shop. Visit oaklandcsl.org/events for more information. Our nonprofit partner for December is Habitat for Humanity East Bay/Silicon Valley. They believe in a world where everyone has a decent place to call home. Within that home, a family can find the strength, stability, and independence they need to build a better life. Our innovative programs and services empower families to change their lives while strengthening our communities. Visit habitatetbsv.org for more information. The 2025 application for the Board of Trustees is now being accepted. Please help us fill 4 open positions on the board. Please visit our website, oaklandcsl.org, select About Us, and scroll down to the Board of Trustees to download the application. The Spirit Treasure Bookstore celebrates the holidays with 30% off all books, including children and card boxes, and there are gifts for under $10. Please visit the 30% off holiday table. And visit csl.org to see what's happening within our Centers for Spiritual Living global organization. And please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org and sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Village News. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates and content you will only find by liking and subscribing to the Oakland Center. And please like us and subscribe to the Oakland Center today. Now here we have a slide showing all of our key people in the center. We have Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman, our senior minister, Beth Van Arkel, board president, Susan Brecker, facility usage coordinator and practitioner, and then Steve Carter, who's our operations coordinator, Alice Knutson, who is our Ministry of Prayer coordinator and a practitioner, and Dow Becker, who is our bookkeeper. I want to just give a shout out to all of them, thanking them. They're not on the program tonight, but they may watch later, and we just want them to know how much we appreciate all of them. Alice Knutson is typically here Wednesday nights, but wasn't able to be here tonight. So now I want to just, in that spirit of thanks and gratitude, I want to invite you to say this affirmation with me. You might be on mute, but say it anyway. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive, and so it is. And so if you are inspired to support the center, you can go on to the website we've been mentioning, oaklandcsl.org, and click the donate button in the upper right. And then you have all these different ways you can donate. You can Zelle, you can use this QR code, you can text to give, you can, and then obviously if you're there in person, you can put money in the basket or a check in the basket. You can mail a check. So these are all different ways to help support our center, and your support is gratefully accepted. We are very grateful for anything that anyone offers, knowing that the spirit that they give it is really the important thing, the spirit of generosity, and knowing that in the law of circulation, as we said earlier, as we give, we do receive. And now I would like to thank everybody who participated tonight in the service. Especially I want to thank our speaker, I was going to say Reverend Crystal. She's not Reverend Crystal Fry, but she sounded like Reverend Crystal. So Crystal,
Not yet.
yeah, thank you very much, Crystal, for a beautiful talk and an engaging and deepening. I mean, really, really good talk. I want to go back and listen to it. And I want to thank Peter, who's our lead for Wednesday evenings. Peter runs our PowerPoints and is all in the background recording. I want to thank Alice Herndon, who was spotlighting. Typically, Alice Knutson is here and she does muting. And sometimes our opening or closing prayers. Alice isn't here tonight, but I want to thank her for all the service she does offer. And Steve Carter, who's in our administration, and he prepares all the PowerPoints and documents that we need for our Wednesday night services. So I want to again thank everybody. And we always, as we open our services with a prayer, we close with the prayer. And I want to ask Crystal, do you have someone in mind to do our closing prayer?
Yes, Judith, I have you in mind.
Oh, well, imagine that. I thought you might mention somebody else, but I am happy to close us out in prayer. So please take a breath with me. Just knowing that we are in the presence of the one, of the divine. And that this entire service was guided by Spirit. And that Crystal, as she shared her thoughts and her wisdom and her knowledge and her heart, that she was an expression of Spirit and is an expression of Spirit. And we thank her for that. And thank everybody who was in the service tonight, both as a participant and as in the background doing the AV and all of the other functions that we have. I also want to thank Crystal for doing the meditation today, knowing that this service was perfect, whole, and complete, as it was. And knowing that each one here is blessed. Each one here is blessed by the divine, by Spirit. Each one here is an expression of Spirit. And that as we close this evening, everyone goes home with a fuller heart. And if they are already home, has a fuller heart. And if they are going home somewhere or moving, return safely to their destination. So with that, I want to say with great gratitude, I give thanks for this wonderful service. And so it is. Amen.